Hey there and welcome back to Tactical Breach Wizards. My name is Pete and today we complete another episode of this completionist walkthrough on hard difficulty with health cut in half. Last time we left off, after completing Ryan's anxiety dream, we learned that our druid hitman is in fact not a human wizard who can turn into a dog, but instead a dog who can turn himself into a wizard. With that anxiety dream behind us, today we can then continue with the game's main storyline. After securing Fort Osprey, we are now ready to launch an attack on Villa Medil, the country's political and military center of operations. As we have learned over the course of the last few episodes, controlling it is crucial for our quest to retake the mana mines, so let's jump in and see what this mission has in store for us. This is it. Veska, you guys take the east wing. Wait for our signal to breach, then work your way towards the council chambers. We're gonna come at it from every side, but there won't be time to resync, so just go at your own pace. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. That sounds like gibberish, but whatever bakes your cake. We're locked off here, can you guys help? Same this side. Then I guess we do this carefully. Alright, here we go. We're attacking in full force for this one with all 5 of our wizards. We've got numerous, albeit fairly weak opponents in the 3 rooms ahead of us. The entries are being watched by 2 snipers, and we've also got an additional layer of doors to get through if we want to reach the bulk of the enemy force. For confidence goals, we've got only 2, and 2 is also the number of turns that Jen gives us to finish this, as well as the number of enemies that Ryan wants to defenestrate with pull. Both of that is doable. In fact, we should be able to finish this in 1 turn, and here's how. First, let's cast Dessa's Transference on Jen with the sniper here as the victim. Then we can breach, have Jen run to the laptop, and watch the sniper shoot themselves. Using the laptop opens the door on the other side. That will be important later. For now, we can move up with Banks and have her place a death's door behind sniper number 2. Jen can then easily take them out with a single static blast, and just like that, both entry doors are cleared. We use Jen's bonus move to breach the next door here as well, and then switch to Ryan, who can now breach on his side too, and use Impaling Vine to yoink the shotgunner here out the window and complete 1/2 of his confidence goal. Now, he needs to do this once more, and also on this turn, so that could get a bit tricky, but we have a plan. That plan revolves around Dal, who can first move up to this spot here to then receive a Gale Grenade from Jen, giving all 3 of them an extra movement action. We use the one on Dessa to seal the first reinforcement door. Jen meanwhile can simply step out of the way, giving Dal a free path to charge at the shotgunner. Coincidentally, this also puts her in the perfect position to grab the intel, allowing her to swap positions with Ryan. This gets our druid hitman over to the other side of the map, and we can already put him in position to pull the tracker out the window. But first, Zan needs to move in, grab some intel, and give Ryan, as well as Dessa, a bonus action with time boost. Afterwards, Ryan can then complete his confidence goal, and yet we are still left with 4 enemies and a reinforcement door to seal. Luckily, Dal here was given a Gale Grenade bonus move earlier, so she can move into position and then charge the heavy gunner. Afterwards, she gets another bonus move from another Gale Grenade, which we want to throw in such a way that it also damages the shotgunner. This is very important, because now Dal can move right next to the explosive here and charge said shotgunner. She needs to do this twice to take them down. To keep the charge streak going, she also needs to charge the barrel. Don't worry, it won't hurt her. It only sets her up to take out the tracker in the corner. Finally then, we use her riot block to get her to stop right in front of the reinforcement door, seal it shut, and can now deal with the last remaining enemy. And well, this is an easy task. A rabid bite from Ryan gets him close and deals 1 point of damage too, and now a spore bomb takes care of the rest. And there we are, all objectives and confidence goals completed, and we did it in just 1 turn. Hold up, my foresight's on the fritz. Neutralizer fields. We're standing in one, I feel it. Perfect. Can't even cast a breaching glyph from here. It's a tight field, other doors should be fine. Still, wish I could take a look in there before we redeploy. We can. You can break craft suppression? Mate, there's windows in the door. Oh, right. Okay, time to learn about a new mechanic, although it is not that new. The magic suppression effect is already familiar from the neutralizer enemy unit, only that these devices here deploy the effect over a larger area. On the bright side, enemy resistance in the room is minimal, and we even have a militia member to help us out if we need them. Zan's confidence goal is also incredibly easy, preventing 4 reinforcements when there's 12 of them waiting. Unless we take 8 turns here, that should be a breeze. And in fact, this level will be another 1-turn affair. Since we can't breach on this door, let's simply redeploy Zan to the other one and open that. His 3-bolt burst is then enough to defenestrate the shotgunner. Ryan redeploys as well and uses Rapid Bite to cover some ground without using his movement. That will be needed to get him to the intel here, so that he can cast a Brittling Dart on the heavy gunner. Followed by an Impaling Vine that is already enough to take the enemy down, and we can now use his 2 Spore Bombs to blow up the neutralizer field generator in the corner here. That then clears the path for Zan to seal the reinforcement door, and just like that, level 2 is in the books. Don't like the looks of the turrets in there. Obliterators. Saw a couple of those take out a tank one time. Cool. Good. Safe. Nice. Tactics? Move more than a tank. Alright, on to level 3 and we meet yet another new type of enemy, the heavy turret. Its rocket attack deals 4 points of damage, but also destroys any cover it hits and pushes the target back 1 tile. All in all, something we should be somewhat worried about, not to mention that another difference to the regular turrets we're already familiar with is the fact that these cannot be turned off manually by just moving next to them. Meanwhile, for confidence goals, we have another 2-turn time limit from Jen, and Banks wants to transfer 4 points of damage, all doable I think, so let's get to it. We breach with Dessa, but it'll be Ryan who moves first, in dog form to get all the way to the shotgunner in the back. Since his Spore Bomb has been upgraded with the Intelligent perk, we can now benefit from 3 units in the blast radius, while Ryan takes no damage. Do that twice and the first turret is toast. Ryan also still has his movement left to seal the door, and can also take down another shotgunner with Impaling Vine. So far so good, time to unlock an achievement with Banks, who can grab the intel here, place a Death's Door on the other reinforcement door, and then use her Death's Floor ability for the first time to teleport herself over there at the cost of 1 point of mana. Since she crossed more than 10 tiles, this unlocks the Wizards Don't Walk achievement. The door is also now sealed shut, and we can throw a sedative at the tracker for good measure. Already sedated, Jen has little trouble eliminating that tracker with a static blast, leaving Dessa to deal with the second turret, easily done by just casting Transference and making the turret shoot itself. That now also completes her confidence goal, and we're ready to tackle level 4. Militia up against chasers in there. Time to even the odds. Right, short on dialogue and straight to the action, that's the MO for this one, a level that we can use to unlock 2 more achievements. To get us started, we've got 3 militia allies in the room, 2 of which need to survive, and we're starting to face Reactor chasers, which makes things a bit trickier. In addition, we've got 2 more reinforcement doors, and Dal's confidence goal demands that we do not touch them during the first 3 turns, spicing up the challenge even further. The 3 enemies currently present on the map shall also be dealt with in turn 1 here, according to Jen, and to achieve that we make use of the fact that the breaching action we just saw during the brief conversation between Jen and Del can in fact be reversed. So let's do exactly that, and then have Del take Jen's position to breach instead, which puts her right in front of the tracker here to charge them out the window. The chasers each move closer, but we want to move 2 to get the one in the back in the perfect position. Afterwards, we charge Del towards the intel, use another action to pick it up, which puts chaser number 2 exactly where we want them to be, so let's move in with Jen next, have them relocate and blast them out the window. That takes care of all 3 enemies and completes Jen's confidence goal. Let's move her up a little further for the bonus move and end the turn. 2 more chasers join us, but their positions are easily exploitable. We get things started by moving Del into a charging position. That meanwhile gets the chaser near Jen moving, and after 1 more move, ready to be blasted. The second one is now also in position, so let's have Del go for the charge, and we'll charge once more afterwards to get a little closer to the reinforcement door here. With her bonus movement, Jen also grabs the intel from the table, and then we end the second turn. On the third one, we only have 1 chaser join us. The other enemy is a shotgunner, who will be our prime target to unlock 2 important achievements. It all begins by pulling Del back as far as possible and throwing her riot block in the chaser's path. That forces them to sidestep it, and Del can charge for the takedown. And, very importantly, she can also pick the riot block back up now. Switching to Jen, we move her back towards the entrance, blast the shotgunner back 2 tiles, and use the bonus move to dash as far back as possible. We go back even further with the help of a gale grenade, and then we swap Del with Jen. Del's riot block gets thrown right behind the shotgunner, and then we charge for a grand total of 11 tiles, blasting the shotgunner right into the riot block and unlocking both the Unstoppable Force and the Movable Object achievements. Now, the math behind this is as follows. Del's charge deals 1 point of damage from the initial impact, then 11 more points of knockback for each tile charged, plus 3 extra knockback from having more than 3 tiles of run-up. Those 14 points of knockback are then transformed into damage upon hitting an obstacle, so 15 points of damage total, all delivered simultaneously as the shotgunner hits the riot block. To end the turn, then, we charge Del over to the side here just to increase the chances of an enemy moving near the windows, and then we get ready for turn number 4. Unfortunately, the plan does not quite work out as intended, the chaser here nowhere near the windows, but still we should be able to solve this, albeit with a small sacrifice. Jen moves back behind the militia soldier here. Del, meanwhile, makes use of the chaser near her standing right in front of the reinforcement door, charges them, and, despite a chaser already in position to strike one of our allies, she uses the bonus charge to seal the door. After 3 turns of waiting, we can now finally do that. Now, unfortunately, that eliminates our militia ally, but after using their attack, the chaser can no longer react to our actions, and both remaining militia soldiers already have them in their sights, leaving Jen to focus entirely on sealing the door. A gale grenade will get her there. We'll give the chaser a static blast just for good measure, but it's really not necessary. Our 2 allies will act first in the 4C phase and quickly eliminate them. And there we go, 2 achievements closer to full completion, and it only cost us a single militia sacrifice. Banks and I are in position. Jen, what's your ETA? The gang's all here. Alright, remember, the stone table is a priceless cultural treasure, so try not to slam anyone into it too hard. Why do I feel like that was directed at me? Don't flatter yourself, I could obliterate that thing. I'm ordering everyone to forget I mentioned the table. Let's just do this. Alright, final level of this mission, and it's going to be an interesting one, as the game now throws everything at us at once here. A variety of enemies, shield generators, a neutralizer field protecting the reinforcement door, a heavy turret, and 2 unsealable reinforcement doors. Safe to say we're in for a fight. Our confidence goals also do not exactly make things any easier. The one for banks in particular is tricky, as sedative damage is only applied if an enemy actually survives into the foresee phase, which is usually not the way we operate. So, to complete it, we'll have to deliberately leave some enemies alive here, who can then deal damage. However, that damage can only be taken by Dal, and we somehow also need to deal 9 points of damage with a single Spore Bomb, despite the enemies being fairly evenly spread out. So, let's get to it. Up first, Zan moves in and uses his 3-bolt burst to quickly eliminate the shotgunner near the window. Afterwards, he sets up a predictive bolt, and we switch to Jen, who can move to that tile the shotgunner previously occupied, grab the intel and broom breach herself towards the shield generator in the far left corner. That's one of 3 disabled. Let's make it 2 with Dessa here, and then we switch the positions of Ryan and Dal and have our druid hitman be the one to breach. However, it is Dal who moves first and shuts down generator number 3, to be followed by a charge that pushes the tracker here into Zan's predictive bolt. We charge even further to get her right next to the shotgunner, and we bring Ryan into the huddle as well with a rabid bite. With 4 units now occupying the space, the Spore Bomb will deal 5 damage per enemy, enough to complete Ryan's confidence goal and to take out both shotgunner and turret. Now, with Dessa, we're now going to throw a sedative cocktail at the heavy gunner, immediately followed by an automatic 3-bolt burst from Zan as part of his supportive fire perk, the first time that gets triggered today. By following that up with a static blast from Jen, we get the gunner down to 1 hit point, so the sedative will take them down at the end of the foresee phase. During the foresee phase, however, they will get to act, so let's get Jen out of the line of fire. Ryan can also take cover, making Dal the target, but we're going to transfer the damage instead onto the neutralizer field generator. And so we take no damage and remove another threat from the battlefield, and yes, despite the heavy gunner having only 1 hit point left, the sedative did technically damage them for 2 points, which is very important to get to the 8-point total needed for Dessa's confidence goal. On the enemy turn then, all 3 reinforcement doors get to spit something out. We've got a shotgunner, a super heavy and a medic, and once again we want to sedate one of them to perish after our turn. The rest meanwhile can be taken out the old-fashioned way, for example with Ryan's 2nd Spore Bomb. His movement afterwards does not quite get him to the reinforcement door, but Jen has 2 Gale Grenades and can spare one to not only push him right next to the intel here, but also to help him cross the remaining tiles. With the door sealed shut, Dal can then move into position to take out the medic. We certainly do not need them to resurrect anyone, and then we get to the super heavy. Now for this we want to move Zan so that he can also have a clear line at the nearby reinforcement door and set up a predictive bolt. Ryan's impaling vine then drags the enemy into that, and because it also applies brittle, makes them lose their armor too. Coincidentally, they are now left with exactly 2 hit points, so let's just make sure that the sedative does not hit them directly, otherwise this would count as another direct attack and trigger Zan's supportive fire. Speaking of Zan, to protect our squad from taking damage, we'll deploy Zan's False Prophet, who thanks to the useful Prophet perk can also immediately earn back the mana cost and ensures that no one takes damage. Before we end the turn then, we move Dessa back a bit, and no, because he didn't eliminate the super heavy with it, Zan cannot set up another predictive bolt here. So we'll have to deal with both of the chasers now, but against 5 of our wizards that should be doable. Up first, Dal moves in to take the hit, one of these she can tag, and this also disables the chaser from doing anything else for the rest of the turn. The other one meanwhile moves for Jen, but Zan can set up the predictive bolt, and at the right moment Jen can then push them into it. A simple 3-bolt burst then brings the other chaser down to 2 hit points, and at this point you know the drill. This time, however, Zan will set up the predictive bolt to end things. The rest of our squad meanwhile can stay put. Now, that predictive bolt did unfortunately not take out the super heavy, so once again we've got 2 enemies to deal with, this one and the chaser here. We've got a few moves to make to set this up. First, Dal steps back for the charge, then Zan sets up another predictive bolt, and finally Ryan pulls the chaser into it with Impaling Vine. Afterwards, Dal goes in for the charge, leaving the enemy standing with exactly 1 hit point, and Zan's supportive fire is thankfully also completely negated by the Super Heavy's armor. So we throw the sedative cocktail for the next and final 2 points of damage that we do not want to take. Thankfully, Ryan has plenty of mana left to deploy another decoy. And so the shot is fired, the decoy falls, and soon after, so does the last enemy of this level, completing all remaining confidence goals, and with that, the mission to retake Villa Medil. And there we are. We have received 2 level ups for this one, 1 perk point each for Dal and Ryan. Let's begin with our Rebel Riot Priest, who receives a recall, allowing her to safely destroy the Riot Shield once per turn and still get it back, a big boost to an ability that she can only use once per mission. For Ryan, meanwhile, we honestly don't really need anything else. This build right here is already pretty good, I think. But let's add the Corrosive perk to the mix, making his Brittling Dart immediately remove any gas mask an enemy might have. That might come in handy. Ryan is also the only one of our wizards who has earned enough confidence points to switch to a new outfit, his 4th and final one, Overgrown, embracing his druidic side. And that's already it. Villa Medil is ours now, and that means the final confrontation with Liv Kennedy is getting closer. As always, I hope you join me for the rest of the journey, but for today we've reached a good point to make the cuts. I hope you enjoyed the video, feel free to leave a thumbs up if you did, and if you like what I'm doing and want to support me and my channel further, then you can of course also go ahead and subscribe to stay up to date, grab some merch over on shop.petecomplete.com, or check out and maybe even pledge to the Pete Complete Patreon. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.